most immediate thing I can do is use my counselor's allowance to fund board activities. I'll set up a counselor's advisory board made up of volunteers, and they will help and they'll assist me finding spots where money is required so programs can be developed for our young people, our seniors, and the sporting associations. Yeah, our fire hall is pretty old. It dates back to pre-Unicity, and it's been on the drawing board for about 10 years now. I'm gonna put a big push on getting this thing built. Our firemen need it, our paramedics need it, the people of Charleswood need it. Again, if the funding formula comes down the way I think it should come down, our ward needs a police station. Right now, our police comes from Pembina, and it's quite a stretch to get to our ward and then service our people. We need better services. Transit on Wilkes is important. Wilkes is a major thoroughfare that connects to Kenaston, Bishop Grandin, takes us to Pembina. Young people could save a lot of money by using it. I'm not sure how transit would design it. It could be a yearly bus pass you take, but definitely the aim is to get our kids to university and save them money and get people to work downtown. Again, in Charleswood, living here so long, we don't complain about much. We don't complain about ditches. We don't, our roads, we're getting rattled. Again, that's more expense for us. It's like a hidden tax. I want to get those roads paved or blacktopped at the very least. We need to have surfaces we can drive on. This is an issue not too many people are aware of. Councilor gets approximately $70,000 a year as an allowance for him to spend any which way they like. They can hire an assistant, they definitely lease their vehicles, and they lease their communication devices. They get this every year, and they should be funding ward activities. In the last election, I made a big point of this. In the last election, our past councilor had a tendency to return money to the city. Some people say that was a frugal thing to do, and on one hand, I can understand. My problem with this whole issue is, this is tax dollars. This money is coming back to us. It makes no sense to not spend it in our ward and give it back to the city so they can go spend it on something that doesn't help us at all. So I'm going to spend $240,000, my complete counselor's allowance, based on what the advisory board we set up dictates should have funding. Yeah, this is an interesting concept. For the last 6 months, I've been going back to more healthy lifestyle, and I've met a group who are working around Central Park downtown, where they help African families get adjusted to Canada. And part of it is that they're growing gardens in schoolyards. So I said, well, that's great. I mean, why don't we start doing that again? Why don't we get kids involved in gardening and their parents helping them? Something we used to do when we were kids, and it's been forgotten. And I think it'd be great if we can plant gardens and the kids learn how to grow things, and they're eating healthier. And it's relatively cheap to do. It doesn't hurt anyone. Why not? Yes, this board, I hope it to be made up of volunteers. I'd like for it to meet maybe once to 3 times a year. I want to task that board to find initiatives in our ward that require funding. I have this money to spend. You got to tell me where you want it spent, and I want to spend it so it benefits our sporting associations, our kids again, and our seniors. I have no problem with development. I want to attract more business to the Charleswood, Tuxedo, Whyte Ridge area. I also want to see more development in housing. That being said, there's going to be a lot of consultation with longtime residents. If these developments affect people's lifestyle, that's the most important part. We don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers. we want things to go smooth. I mean, I like things to go smooth, so lots of consultation. I'd like to study the residential house tax. I'd like to find a different way it's applied for two reasons. One, I don't like housing being tied to market values. And two, I don't like the idea that people who invest in their homes to make them more comfortable, more efficient, more beautiful, somehow get taxed because of that. And so those are the issues I have with the residential tax. Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody who's got kids, you've all been involved in sports. I've coached, and I think we should attract at least 2 tournaments a year to the Charleswood Ward. The ones I'm thinking of is a football classic in the fall, and that will be for all the teams who are no longer in playoffs. It gives them one more chance to, you know, strut their stuff and go for a championship. And the other is a spring soccer tournament, which kind of tunes them up for their summer. The reason I want these tournaments is I want to bring people in. In the last election, I talked about a sportsplex, where I would hope that we could attract thousands of people to the ward. It helps our business, it helps people visit, and it's good for the whole community. Well, I give it a lot of thought, and because I feel so strongly that I need to set an example and that my councilor's allowance be completely spent on the ward, I'm going to do what many people do. I'm going to take the bus. We have a system, we pay for it through our taxes, I may as well use it. I'll buy my own bus pass. We're also investing in bike pads. I'm going to be using my bike a lot. I'm even going to try going through the winter on a bike just to see how it is. I think this is important that I set this example, because the perception needs to change that all politicians are the same. I'm running for office, I'm offering you my services, I'm able to sacrifice. I'm prepared to do it. Our city's future is basically tied to one thing. It's no longer unicity, it's one city. We need a constitution. We need to define who we are, what we want, and where we're going. Once we define that, we can look for the respect, the power, and the money that we need to complete projects that we, the citizens, want completed. We don't need to beg and grovel to our parent, the province. It's almost as if after your week's work, your boss keeps the money. You go to your boss and say, hey, I want to buy this pair of shoes, and he looks at you and says, no, they're too expensive. Why don't you buy those $10 ones? And it doesn't work. I mean, we need to be in control of ourselves.